So why should they vote your candidate?
They vote my candidate because he has the experience, he has the knowledge, he is going to hit the ground running. And they have seen it. His delivery, his manifesto, because when you look at Anambra the way it is not coming to overpromise.
What's in the manifesto?
Basically, we are talking about education, all right? Because it's the United Nations benchmark for education to really thrive in any given community is at least to devote 26% of that budget, of your state budget to education. In Nigeria, only two states have done that. That is Kwara and Sokoto State. We are talking about Anambra, where you will see that we are having problem with even male enrollment in schools. Okay? So if we do that which we're supposed to do by making our education about 26%, and then taking out of that 26%, another 10% to give to parochial institutions like the missionary schools, which will hand it over. Mark you that when Peter Obi entered the governance of Anambra State was in 26th position. With that change of attitude of handing school to missionaries and still funding them, Anambra came up to #1 in NECO and in WAEC. What we're trying to do is to try to sustain that by making sure that using education to develop the human capital. And we have a lot of graduates in Anambra State who are graduates of psychology, Igbo, history, and what have you, which is a very dangerous thing because in today's world, skill is everything. So what we're trying to do with this present idea of making sure that the education budget is well funded is to do a retraining program that will bring a certain degree of expertise to these graduates who are now holding paper but without any skill, to make sure that that entrepreneurial spirit that is being spoken everywhere about the Anambra man is now exploited to the fullest, because we don't need them looking for jobs because the jobs are not there. But we also want to partner with some manufacturing concern in our place. These young men have gone to school. You are innocent, for instance. You are manufacturing automobile. These guys can learn to do certain things here practically. With their certificate, it will be easy to retrain them in that area.
So how was your candidate going to upstage the incumbents? Because, for instance, now, I think when he came in, he said that they inherited an IGR of 500 million naira monthly. And now, from what we see, they say it's about
1.5 billion.
500 million naira monthly then. Now, yes, it's 1.5 billion
precisely
monthly. So do you think that the people of Anambra will see that kind of IGR and then want to come back to you? Because
the question is, what has the incumbent done with the IGR of 1.5 billion?
No, that's not the question.
That is the question.
No, the question I'm asking you.
You do not ask anybody. Listen.
No. You had to respond. Could you let me put in the question so you respond? Because you're talking about what your candidate is bringing to the table.
Yes.
So we're asking, what is he going to do differently? Why do you think the people will leave what they've seen now from 500 million to 1.5 and want to come to your candidate?
Chamberlain, if the IGR is 500 billion, for instance, and the IGR does not translate to things the people of Anambra State will see, benefit from, and enjoy, it is a useless something. So in Anambra State today, in addition to 1.5 billion, which he himself has now put there in the public domain, he spent 42 months in office. You can calculate what he has taken in IGR. You will talk about the money that was left for him when PDP was handing over. And then you will look at what Anambra State has received for the 3.5 years it's been in office. On the average, 4 budgets, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, almost 455 billion appropriated and spent. Nothing. When I say nothing, except the falling bridge at Oka, that is what you will see where our government
In other words, your candidate or your party has no plans to improve or increase the IGR.
The IGR there is that when government is all about structures and formation, if the present government has set up a good structure for the IGR to move, our government would inherit it and make sure we improve it. Because he inherited a good security structure from Peter Obi and tried at least to sustain that one.
So what is Obaze bringing to the table in terms of governance?
What Obaze is bringing to the table in terms of governance is Obaze is a policy expert. He understands how government works. He knows what to do. And if you ask yourself, Obaze, as the SGA, as the Secretary of the Government, was the engine room of the most successful government in Anambra State, which is Peter Obi's government. If you look at what Anambra State did during that period, if you look at the amount of money that was spent, you will know that it's not from federal allocation. Obaze has both the international contacts and the cloud to attract these things with donor agencies who really funded most of the MDG projects we have. Today we are now talking about the SDGs. And we still need a man who knows where this money is, because the money is out there. But people who sat down there and came and saw millions of naira, even the ones which was left in dollars, information reaching us, is that they've been sold from Access Bank, from Diamond Bank, and Fidelity Bank. This is the money that money has been sold.
You are told. Is there any proof to that?
Well, for me...
Because you have to prove it. You cannot just come and say it.
When we come to the issue of proof, I will give you the letter written from the banks, from where the money was left.
We'd like to see that.
That's not what we are talking here. If you invite me again, we will talk about that. But my business is not coming here to denigrate Willie or the government in power. The truth of the matter is that a man came into office with very high expectation. Everybody was jumping up, and he failed us totally.
We've got to anchor the point. Chief Okey Muo Aroh is the Director of Communication, Media and Publicity for the PDP Anambra Governorship Campaign Team. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much, Emily.
We'll be back in a moment. Do join us again.